Hello, everyone. How's it going? This is immigration attorney Moumita Rahman, and I'm here live to talk to you about immigration and to see what is on your minds today. Thank you for joining me live, and hello to everyone. For those of you who are new to my channel or new to my page, my name is Moumita Rahman, and I am an immigration attorney. I'm licensed in New York, and I work with immigration clients all over the U.S. So if you need my assistance, write this number down, 212-248-7907. And my assistants are on standby right now to book you for an appointment. Does not matter if you do not live in New York, no matter where you are in the US. Hopefully we can do something for you for your case. And we are only working virtually right now. So this is going to make it a lot more easier for you to get the help that you need. And today I'm going to talk about something that I frequently talk about a lot, because if you have been watching me for a long time, then you know that I am constantly talking about marriage and Vawa. What happens when you are an immigrant who is undocumented and who does not have status, but you're married to a US citizen, and you had maybe at one point thought that this was going to be one of the ways that you legalize your status because you're now in a marriage, in a relationship with somebody who says that they're going to help you or who has given you some hope that you may be able to do things together. But what happens when you can't work it out, when things are not working out the way that you expected and your life turns into something different? And you have probably seen my videos where I talk about Vawa. So how do you know if you qualify for Vawa? First of all, Vawa stands for the Violence Against Women's Act, and it is a way of asking for a green card for oneself on the basis of being married to a U.S. citizen or to a green card holder who is not treating you well. The unfortunate reality is that there are a lot of hi Vala. The unfortunate reality is that there are a lot of people out there who may know that you're an immigrant, who may take advantage of that situation and may treat you in a very discriminatory manner, even when they are your spouse. And if you're in a situation where your husband or your wife is constantly demeaning you, constantly making you feel like you're not worthy, that you're unvalued, they don't treat you like equals, they compare you to their previous spouses or to their exes, they don't let you live in a normal way in the house, or you feel like you are being controlled by them, manipulated by them, guilted by them constantly, they keep screaming at you, cursing at you, things like that. Or even in the worst case scenario, also, they are also hurting you physically, maybe even guilting you into doing things in an intimate way. There are a lot of things that happen. So how do you know if you qualify for Vawa? So number one is that you need to be married to a U.S. citizen or to a green card holder. And this marriage needs to be legitimate. For example, if you were previously married, you need to make sure that your divorce is done properly before getting married for this current marriage. And also, you'd be surprised, even if you're not living together, even if you are separated, you may still qualify for Vawa, and I will explain how. Even if you are divorced, you may still qualify for Vawa, and I'll explain how. If you have gotten divorced from your spouse, your divorce cannot be more than 2 years old. So as of right now, if your divorce is coming up on the 2-year mark, the 2-year anniversary of getting divorced, then you need to give us a call right now. Okay, number two, the second way that you know that you qualify for Vawa is ask yourself, do I feel good in this marriage? Do I feel as though I'm an equal partner? Do I feel like I am equal to my spouse? And if the answer is no in any sort of way, if the answer is like, well, I kind of feel like I need to do things the way that they need, or else it's going to be a problem for me. I have to constantly keep my spouse happy, or no, I don't feel like I have as many rights. In fact, maybe your spouse even says to you, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, I'll call immigration on you, or you may get in trouble, or I'll take you away from the kids, right? So that's how you know already right off the bat that you're not being treated equally in your relationship, and your spouse is using your immigration status in a way to hurt you and to control you. And that's another way that you know that you may be subject to something called extreme cruelty and battery as a result. And the third is you must have shared a residence with your spouse. You must have lived in the same house. If you have never lived with your spouse, if you're in a long distance relationship where you never have a house together, you never have a home together, then that would not work. But if you have lived together, even if you get kicked out or if you move out after a short period of time, that would still qualify. Okay. Now, what happens if you are not in the US anymore? What happens if you're in a marriage to a United States citizen and you suffered this sort of treatment and you left the US? Can you still qualify for Vawa? And the answer is yes, you may still qualify for VAWA because of the fact that some of this bad abusive behavior towards you occurred while you were inside the United States, okay? Now, and the last thing is that, of course, your marriage has to be real. Your marriage has to be real, and you have to be a person of good moral character. So, if you have like super, super serious crimes, then it may be a problem. But definitely, I analyze everything once I meet with the client, okay? So that's how you know if you qualify. The way that you'll find out if you qualify for VAWA is if you give me a call, and I'll go over your case to see what your options are, especially when you're in that relationship, when, your spouse just keeps not wanting to help you get a green card, or they say that they're going to help, but then you see that they keep dragging their feet. They won't give you the documents, or your spouse has left you, your spouse has abandoned you, or you have had to leave the marital home to protect your own sanity and to protect yourself physically, okay? That's how you know you qualify. Give us a call, 212-248-7907. This is my passion to help people, because I don't believe that anyone, especially when you're an immigrant, should have to suffer through this sort of distressing behavior and treatment from a spouse just for the sake of getting a green card, okay? All right, so now please go ahead and ask me your questions. Geldi, nice to see you. I'm trying to reschedule my appointment. How long will it take from one anonymous? One anonymous, I'm not sure. I can't really tell you off the top of my head how far my calendar is booked already, but give us a call and we'll let you know, okay? And if you have any sort of emergency situation, we'll do our best to try to get you in sooner, okay? But 212-248-7907. My husband got deported 10 years ago and came back. Is there any hope for Martinez Morales? Martinez Morales, if your husband got deported 10 years ago, if 10 years has passed, then there may be a way to bring them back. And actually, I covered this question yesterday on my live. If your spouse has been deported, or if your spouse left the country and there was a 10-year bar, can they now come back? So number one, Martinez, we need to see why your husband was deported. Was it for a serious criminal conviction, or was it just for basically being caught here without any status? If it's been 10 years, then we may not even need to do anything special to bring him back. But if your husband has a permanent bar or some other serious sort of issue, then we may have to do some special applications. But give us a call, Martinez. It may definitely be possible to bring him back. And I'd love to analyze this case at 212-248-7907. And thank you for sharing my live. Thank you for the flowers. Hello, Hot M, Tapa. Hello, namaste. Bea Luz is asking, question, what if my mom is married to a citizen with a person who was in jail for domestic violence? All right, Bea Luz. First of all, I hope your mom is okay. Now, if you know that your friend, your family member, your mother, your father, your sister, whoever is married to a citizen, and the citizen that they're married to is not someone who is that great, right? If you already know that they have a conviction for domestic violence, or they have like a violent or aggressive background, and you observe with your own eyes also that your mom's husband is being aggressive with her, the surprising thing is like the tough thing is that when people are in relationships like that, sometimes things are not what they appear. So things can really appear to be perfect to the outside world, and like everything is good, everything is perfect, but you never know what happens behind closed doors. What I would say is I would definitely let your mom, give your mom my number, schedule an appointment for her, and I'd love to see how I can help. Okay, Beoluz? 212-248-7907. Hello, Gelzi. Thank you so much for the rose. Rafi Uddin, hello. Nice to see you. Superb Chadron is asking, is advanced parole safe to travel while your VAWA is pending? Super 8 and anyone else who has advanced parole. I would say always discuss with your lawyer the risks of traveling on advanced parole, because even though traveling outside the country on advanced parole is generally okay, you always need to assess the situation and make sure that you have your paperwork in order and make sure that everything is okay. So generally it's okay, but you always want to talk to your attorney, because leaving the borders of the U.S. when your status is still in a transitional state is always a little bit of a risk, especially because you are not a green card holder and you're not a U.S. citizen. Customs and Border Patrol always retains the ultimate discretion to admit or deny a person back into the U.S., okay? Mr. Tusk is asking, hi there, I have an AOS interview coming up next month. Please, what advice can you give me to be successful from Mr. Tusk? Mr. Tusk, this is one of my favorite topics. How can you have a successful adjustment of status marriage interview when you have it coming up with USCIS? So number one, I'm going to say, if you're watching me on YouTube, or if you don't already follow me on YouTube, make sure you check out my YouTube page. I actually have a couple of great videos, long videos about what to expect at your green card interview and how to ace it. But here are my top 3 tips for how to be well prepared for your interview. Number one is review your application. Make sure you know exactly what information you already gave to immigration, and review the documents that you're bringing for evidence. Number 2, make sure you have all of your evidence together and all of your original documents. So definitely go through that list that immigration gives you, and also bring as much evidence as you can of your marriage. So if you have a bank account with your spouse, don't just bring one statement, bring all of them. If you just have, if you have a photo album, bring a photo album. If you have lots and lots of bills, bring all of them. Bring as much joint evidence as you can. You can never have too much paperwork, okay? But make sure it's organized. Don't just throw things into a plastic bag. Make sure it's organized and sorted, okay? And number 3 is practice certain questions with your spouse. Make sure you guys are on the same page before the interview. Go over the little dates and history of your relationship. Make a little timeline of how you guys met. When did you meet? When was the first date? How did you guys fall in love? Where was the marriage proposal, and where were you married and who was there? These are little details that they always love to ask about, and you want to make sure that you are on the same page and that your memories are together, okay? But good luck, Mr. Tusk. Okay. Can misdemeanors get in the way for visa approval from Mario Sosa? Mario Sosa, yes, they may get in the way. You generally want to make sure you have documentation about what happens for that misdemeanor, and like what was the final conviction. And certain types of convictions can be a barrier to getting a visa. You definitely need to get it analyzed and make sure that everything is okay before you leave, okay? All right. And Fiona Koja has a question. Please go ahead and ask it. Mikhaili, if you have a question, just go ahead and drop it in the box, and I'm going to answer as many questions as I can. And thank you for all the follows. I'm so sorry, guys. It's just taking a little while to scroll through the questions because I lost them for a sec. Okay, Desiree is saying, we can't get in touch with your office. We have tried. Desiree, give us a call, 212-248-7907. I think sometimes what happens is that if there are a lot of phone calls at the same time, it's hard for them to get through. Just give us a call again, or you can send us a DM on Instagram, okay? Is there any way to petition for a green card for a parent who does not have a legal entry from baby one? Baby one, if you're, and this is a very good, important question that everyone should know the answer to. So one, if you're a US citizen and you want to help your mother or your father, and you know that they don't have a legal entry, do they have any sort of option at all for legalizing their status, or do they have to stay outside for the full 10 years? Now, this is going to depend because number one, it's going to depend on what they qualify for. There are actually several different case types that would potentially allow a person to get a green card inside the US without having to leave, even if they don't have a legal entry. So if your mother or father qualifies for these, then theoretically you can help. Now, the first one is going to be Section 245I, which is if they have an older relative or an employer who petitioned for them in the past, basically before 2000. And, if they have that and they don't have a permanent bar, then we can do Section 245I or something called military parole in place. I'm not going to go through all the details because it's really long. But also, one thing that I like to do a lot, I like to see if a mother or a father or somebody who has an adult U.S. citizen child has this, have they ever been mistreated by their kids, by any one of the adult kids? Because if, when you're an immigrant parent, sometimes, there's a lot of cultural clash. There's also a little bit of a barrier. There's also a little bit of an inequality. Some kids are not always, are mindful of the fact that, like the parents don't have status, and they may end up using it against the parents when they want to get what they want. So if you know that your mom or dad, like you have a sibling who has constantly, gotten in trouble, doesn't listen to your parents, yells at them, curses at them. Maybe they've even brought up the immigration status. Maybe you know that your sibling has even hurt your mom or dad. Then your mom or dad may qualify for something called Vawa, which is again what I had talked about earlier, but this time it's based upon a child who's an adult who has lived with the parent who has caused the parent to go through extreme cruelty or battery. And this is a very, very good underutilized tool. So definitely, if you know that your parents have you have siblings that have put your parents through this sort of stuff, running away from home, getting in trouble with with cops, constantly putting your kids in your parents in harm's way, give me a call, 212-248-7907. And if they don't qualify for that, then I'll screen. I will check to see if your mom or dad qualifies for a few other things. Okay. How to apply for a green card? I have an I-94 and it doesn't expire, from Daisy Inabo. Daisy Inabo, and anyone who wants to apply for a green card, you need to qualify either through family or through employment or through a humanitarian visa type. So it really depends. Are all non-immigrant visas issued from embassies have the same time frame? And if so, how much is that? From Nomad, no, Nomad. Non-immigrant visas all have different time frames, and you will have to check on the embassy's website to see what the time frame is for the wait. Gabby Cruz, hello, thank you so much. Yes, it is storming in New York right now. We've had a lot of snow. Thank you so much, Gabby, for your well wishes. Okay. Can I travel on my B1, B2 visa while awaiting my interview at the embassy? From Stacy Rowe. Stacy Rowe, very good question. Yes, generally there is no prohibition. If you are outside the US and you're awaiting an interview at the embassy in your country, and you also have a valid visit visa, there's no prohibition to you entering the US and traveling to the US on your visit visa. However, you must be mindful that it is incumbent upon you to always tell the truth. So for example, if Customs and Border Patrol asks you when you come in, oh, do you have another application pending or X, Y, and Z, just answer truthfully, right? And they still retain the discretion to admit somebody in or to deny them, okay, Stacey? But hopefully everything will be fine. I've known plenty of people who've come back and forth with no issues, but it always depends on the customs officer and whether they're having a good day or a bad day, and how your story matches up. How long does a 601A waiver take to process right now? From Just Fear. Just Fear, it's taking about a year or more. What would I have to file to adopt a relative's child that never registered their child? From Booth Withams. Booth, it really depends. Like if the child is inside the US, you have to contact a family law attorney to see what the procedures are. If they're outside the country, you have to make the adoption pursuant to the laws of that country. And if you want to help your relative's child get status, then you need to basically adopt them before they turn 16 in order to confer rights upon them. My husband was deported with a Class X felony, but brought down to a lesser charge. From Martinez. Martinez, okay, so I remember you asked a question about how your husband had been deported before. So if your husband was deported for a felony, but it was brought down, let's take a look at it, right? I hope you have the conviction papers, the records, so I can take a look and we can analyze it for you, okay? Can a resident apply for citizenship after domestic abuse where charges were dropped? From Sarita. Sarita, this is a tough question because domestic violence convictions are viewed very, very seriously in immigration. And, if the charges were dropped, then that's definitely good, but you have to be prepared. You need to have a lawyer. That's all I can say is that, criminal charges and citizenship are not two things that mix, and it makes it more complicated. And I would always 100% advise you to have an attorney with you. If you need my help, give me a call, 212-248-7907. I went to the interview the first time and they scheduled me for another video, and my wife doesn't want to go with me and she filed for divorce. What can I do in this situation? Please help me. From Bartow Lewis. Bartow, this is my thing. This is my jam. Bartow, if your spouse is now filing for divorce, they're not going to come to the second interview with you, and now your green card status is in jeopardy, I want you to give me a call. I want you to give me a call so that we can talk about Vala. I can take a look at your case to see if you qualify. And if you do qualify and it works out, then we can go ahead and basically convert your case from what you're doing with your spouse to your own self-petition, okay? Bartow, give us a call at 212-248-7907. Omo B is saying, hi, Moumita, I've been waiting for my work permit for 9 months now. I'm not a health worker. Is there anything I can do to get the officer in charge, to get the attention of the officer in charge of my file? So this is a really tough thing because a lot of people are waiting for work permits for a long time. The processing time has increased a great deal for pretty much all types of work permits across the board. If you want to try to get the attention of immigration to try to speed up your case, you want to look for, is there any reason to expedite it? And expedite reasons are usually for on an emergency basis. That can be due to a great risk of financial loss, a great, medical emergency, or some other sort of humanitarian type. So if you can think about it, and if you have any reasons, then maybe you can do it on that. I have an asylum case, and if I marry with a green card holder, do I need to go back to India or not? So Harminder, it's going to depend on, number one, on do you have a legal entry, and number two, is your spouse going to become a citizen or not? So if your spouse is not a citizen and you don't have a legal entry, or you have unlawful presence, then you probably will need to do a waiver and go back to your country, unless your spouse, has been treating you really bad, and then we can see if you qualify for Vawa. Okay, you can give us a call. I submitted my N400, but my green card expires in August. U.S. estimates 14 months. What now? From JD. JD, I always recommend that if your green card is going to be expiring, just go ahead and do the renewal, because you don't know how long your citizenship case is going to take. You don't know if you're actually going to get approved for citizenship either, right? So it's always a safer bet to go ahead and renew your green card. That way you don't have any interruptions in your ability to travel or to show proof of your legal status. What year U visa is processing right now from in Cat Reyes? Cat, I believe they're now up to like 2017, approximately. I have been married to an American woman for 1 year. She's had an affair. Can I still apply for Vawa if I go back to my home country from Blue Moon Bar Grill? Blue Moon Bar Grill, first of all, I'm very sorry that this has happened in your relationship. It must be very, very traumatic and stressful to have your wife cheat on you like that. If you have suffered in your relationship and you're definitely wanting to go back home because it's just going to be better for you, you could still file for Vala and we can still give you a help, okay? Give us a call, Blue Moon, 212-248-7907. I applied for a work permit. It's been almost 6 months gone. How long do I have to wait for it by Asylum? From Kamarul. Kamarul, you're probably going to have to wait another few months, okay? Agelji, thank you so much. He's saying, guys, she's very good. Please just talk to her. She will help you out. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Is there any way to petition for a green card for a parent who does not have a legal entry, maybe one? I already answered that. And the bottom line is that if your parent does not have a legal entry, still give me a call. I would still like to see if they, and make sure, I'd like to leave no stones unturned, and I want to see if they qualify for the other case types, okay? My fingerprints are done for the U visa, but when will I get my work permit? From Fiona. Fiona, if you have a bona fide determination, then you may get it soon. Otherwise, generally, you have to wait until the U visa is approved. My asylum individual was postponed for 3 years. Is there any way I can request it to be advanced? From Dilgotra. Dilgotra, the bad news is that, you can always make the motion to request an advancement of your hearing, but the immigration courts are backlogged by almost 1 million cases. So the chances are very slim that you'll be able to get your hearing any sooner. All right. And Gabby, again, thank you so much for your well wishes. I hope you're doing well. Is F2A still current till when? From Bussy. Bussy, as far as I saw, it's still current right now. We have yet to see what's going to happen next month. I missed my first interview for the I-751. What can I do now? I called USCIS to give a reschedule. It's been almost 1 year past from Tanheed. Tanheed, this is probably a serious situation. If you missed your I-751 interview and you requested a reschedule and you still don't have any news, then they're probably going to give you another interview, but it just takes long to get a new date, okay? And obviously, if you don't, keep checking on USCIS to make sure that your case is still active. If it's been denied, then you may end up in court, and you definitely want to give us a call, okay? Can you use a priority date on your I-130 approval to file for Vawa? From Bussy. Bussy, it doesn't necessarily matter. Once you get approved for Vawa, you're just going to have to wait for the, usually there's no, it doesn't really matter. A priority on a VAWA application on an I-130, it doesn't really matter too much. Unless your spouse is a green card holder, then you can probably try to make that argument. Okay. I applied for asylum in 2015 and I got my work authorization. I still don't have my hearing date. What should I do? It's been almost 7 years. From Shanti. The bad news is that you just have to keep on waiting. There's not much that you can do. Okay. Jana Lee is saying, hi, Moumita. I've been married to a green card holder, but he was treating me bad and I divorced him, just filed. But unfortunately, he does not want to add me to the lease. And do I still have a chance to win VAWA? Thank you so much. Jana Lee, listen, give me a call. People think that they need to have the clear and convincing evidence for a VAWA case, but that is not the standard. The standard for winning a VAWA case, for having good proof, is basically any credible evidence. So even if your spouse does not want to add you to the lease, even if they never add you to any bills and you don't have a social security number and you don't have any hard proof like that, you can still get affidavits. You can still there's so many things that you can do. You can take pictures of the interior of your home to show that you're living there. You can get affidavits from friends and family. There's a lot of things that you can do. Okay. Jana Lee, give me a call, 212-248-7907. Now that you've started the divorce process, it is time to get started on your VAWA case. Okay. You don't want to lose any time. All right. Krishibit Nizam is saying, hello, this is MD Uddin. If I apply for VAWA now and later my relationship is better, can I change to a VAWA application? I'm from the Bronx. Krishibit, yes, listen, VAWA is complicated and relationships are complicated, right? So just because you apply for VAWA now and you reconcile with your spouse later does not necessarily mean that your spouse never treated you badly before, right? So, and you don't know what's going to happen in the future. So you can still continue with your VAWA case. And for me, it is completely fine. It is not the government's job. Like, they're not allowed to deny you your VAWA case just because you're back with your spouse. Okay. All right. Why don't you promote divorce waiver when it's way easier and more straightforward from It's a Self-Love Journey? Okay. So, number one, the divorce waiver is not necessarily more straightforward. The divorce waiver is actually not a great option for everyone because of the amounts of proof that you may have or not. And number two, you do need to have the divorce completed. You need to have the divorce finalized. If somebody already has the divorce finalized, then it's always something I offer, and it's always something that I may request to do in conjunction together with a waiver for extreme cruelty and battery. It's not like I just shove it off to the side, but as an attorney, it's my job to make an evaluation as to which might be the better course of action. And if you have a 2-year green card and you are no longer with your spouse, if you're in the process of getting a divorce or you have suffered extreme cruelty in your relationship, then I'm going to suggest everything I can to win your case. So why would I suggest a divorce waiver? Why would I not suggest to do a divorce waiver when there may be extreme cruelty involved? And number one, the reasons might be that you don't have a lot of evidence. You have very poor evidence in your case to show that you had a good faith marriage. And when you do a extreme cruelty waiver, it is much easier to explain. It is much more acceptable for them to understand that you don't have evidence because your spouse controlled your life and you couldn't make that evidence. And number two, the other really good reason why everyone should be doing an extreme cruelty waiver if they qualify for it is the fact that your time period for citizenship is 3 years instead of 5 years. All right. My friend, he is Mexican and he has been here for 15 years. Does he have a way to get status? He's married to an asylee who is here on work permit. Her hearing date is next year. If she wins, does he have a chance? From Shanti. Shanti, yes. If your friend's wife wins her asylum case and they're legally married, then he will also receive derivative asylee status. And you're very welcome. Nafisa Rashid is asking, how long does it take to get a green card after a waiver has been approved? Nafisa, generally, if you are doing an adjustment of status process and the waiver is done here with immigration, with an immigration officer at USCIS, usually they will decide the waivers together with the green card application. But if you are doing your immigrant visa outside the US and you're doing the waiver before you do the interview at the consulate, then it's probably going to take at least a year, if not more. 6 months employment working authorization expired last September. I called CIS and asked to get a letter from my employer and fax and still I have not heard anything from them. From Jiwa Hakim. Jiwa, if you have requested an expedite and they have not given you an answer yet, you can always call customer service to check up on the status of that request, okay? My wife in removal order since 2003, asylum denied, no criminal record. I'm a U.S. citizen and we have 2 kids together. Can't you reopen her case? Please help me from Top News Live. Top News Live, give us a call. You know, we are doing lots of cases where we're going to be requesting motions to reopen a case. So if you know that your spouse has a deportation order, their case got denied previously, they have a legal entry, or even if they don't, and you're in a marriage right now, yes, it may be possible to get things approved and also to reopen the case so that they can go on with further processing of their case, okay? So give us a call, 212-248-7907. Hi, my father applied for my I-130 for F3 category in November 2013. What is the wait time? Still no update. From Triple Abs, you need to check the visa bulletin because I don't know that off the top of my head. But if you're not familiar with how to check the visa bulletin, you need to know that, okay? What if they passed away, but we were separated for 1.5 years before? From Cassie. Cassie, I'm sorry to hear that. Still give me a call. You may qualify for either a widower petition, or we can still do a Vawa if you did suffer in your relationship. Doesn't matter how long you were separated. We can do Vawa even if you were separated for 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is, as long as you meet the eligibility, which is, have you suffered, or was it a real marriage? Did you share a house together? Okay. Okay. Hi, my father applied for my brother and he died last month. What should we do now? Thank you, from Mike Davis. Mike Davis, I'm so sorry to hear that. So it's going to depend on a few things. It's going to depend on if your brother's inside the U.S. And if a substitute sponsor is available, okay? Give us a call if you need help. Does switching from an I-751 joint petition to Vawa restart the waiting period? Ready to be scheduled from wrecked family? Wrecked family, not necessarily. So if you did a joint I-751 with your spouse and now you need to do a waiver, whether the waiver is a Vawa waiver or a divorce waiver, whatever it is, if you get your interview, you can actually present an amendment to your case at the interview, which I've done plenty of times. Sometimes they may want to reschedule your interview, but it doesn't necessarily start the whole thing over again. Give us a call, Wrecked Family, 212-248-7907 to see how we can help you with your case, okay? All right. We live in DC. Will you be available to do cases here? Top News Live, yes. I travel all over the country for my cases, and I also work virtually with people all over the US. Raj Singh is asking, ma'am, do I need an I-94 for Vawa? Raj Singh, you don't need to have a valid I-94. All right, guys. All right. So I've got to get going, but thank you so much for your questions. Let me see if I have another couple of questions here. Okay, I've got another couple here. Can you explain the process for a military spouse green card currently waiting for the I-131? From Laser. Laser, yes. So if you're in the military and you're married to somebody who doesn't have a legal entry, you can request something called military parole in place. And the process is that you first have to get the I-131 approved. That is the military parole in place. Once it's approved, then you want to file the I-130 and I-485 together usually, and wait for the interview. What can my husband do if his mother? What can my husband do if his mother is ill in Mexico, but he's still in the green card process? From Jessica Sebastian. Jessica, I'm sorry to hear that. So if you have a green card process that's already started, then you may have already filed for an advanced parole. If you have not, then you can request something called an emergency advanced parole. You have to show proof of the emergency. So if your husband's mother is just a little sick, it may not be enough of an emergency, but if she's seriously sick, get proof from the doctor, get the hospital records, and you can make an appointment by calling the customer service, request an info pass for an emergency in advanced parole appointment, okay? Good luck with that. Nancy Aldello is asking, my husband petitioner passed away. I'm waiting for the waiver approval. What do you suggest to do next? Nancy, it sounds like a tough situation. Give us a call, okay? 212-248-7907. Your I-130 may convert to an I-360 widow petition, but you may need to have a substitute sponsor, okay? How long does it take to get a green card after the I-360 has been approved from Nafisa Rashid? Nafisa, it will generally take anywhere from 6 months to about a year. Usually you will need to have an interview to go over your eligibility for the green card itself, not for VAWA. The VAWA has already been decided, but the green card is a little bit different. In some places, if you have no problems and they won't give you an interview and you'll just get your green card in the mail. I've had that happen for several cases in New York. However, if you need to have an interview on your case, then generally you will have to wait between 6 months to a year for that interview. But once it's approved, you should be good. I applied an I-730 and I got a receipt notice, but my son's name is wrong. From Walia. Walia, make sure you contact customer service to correct that, okay? All right, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember that just because you're an immigrant does not mean that you don't belong. You too make America great already. Thank you so much for watching. If you need assistance, give us a call, 212-248-7907. We will let you know whether we can give you an appointment or not. And if I get to speak with you, I look forward to speaking with you soon. Take care, everyone.